Hello and welcome back to my Read Aloud channel this morning. I have started back after a bit of a break, and I am reading the end of chapter 5 now and starting chapter 6 of First Samuel. And I wanted to go back and make a little note on the reference in one of the last verses that I read. It says, I'll start at the beginning of the verse 11 of chapter 5. It's a pretty short chapter. So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and said, "Send the ark of the God of Israel away. Let it go back to its own place, or it will kill us and our people." Well, the reference says he or he. It says it or he, right? So this is kind of was an interesting note to me because it seemed like they had some idea that we talk about God being a personal God, and that it at least in some translations, that God, even though it was their God, was a he, a personal God. Kill. Okay, I mean it is the ark itself of God, but it was obviously acting on his behalf and powerfully. So it says, for death had filled the city with panic. God's hand was very heavy on it. Those who did not die were afflicted with tumors, and the outcry of the city went up to heaven. Chapter 6. When the ark of the Lord had been in Philistine territory 7 months, the Philistines called for the priests and the diviners and said, "What shall we do with the ark of the Lord? Tell us how we should send it back to its place." They answered, "If you return the ark of the God of Israel, do not send it back to him without a gift. By all means, send a guilt offering to him. Then you will be healed, and you will know why his hand has not been lifted from you." The Philistines asked, "What guilt offering should we send him?" They replied, 5 gold tumors and 5 gold rats. In the last chapter, it talked about tumors and rats had been another way that they were afflicted, and just basic death and destruction. So, according to the number of the Philistine rulers, because the same plague has struck both you and your rulers, make models of the tumors and of the rats that are destroying the country, and give glory to Israel's God. Perhaps he will lift his hand from you and your gods and your land. And so that was the first way that it was their God was like knocked off of its post just because they placed it in the same temple as him, as it, which is more correct in this case, which is correct. So anyway, yeah, just the fact that they're also feeling like our gods are being, obviously overtaken by this guy. So, yes, perhaps he will lift his hand from you and your gods and your land. Why do you harden your hearts as the Egyptians and Pharaoh did? When Israel's God dealt harshly with them, did they not send the Israelites out so they could go on their way? Now then, get a new cart ready with 2 cows and have calved and have never been yoked. That have been calved and have never been yoked. Hitch the cows to the cart, but take their calves away and pen them up. Take the ark of the Lord and put it on the cart, and in a chest beside it put the golden objects you are sending back to him as a guilt offering. Send it on its way, but keep watching it. If it goes up to its own territory toward Beth Shemesh, then the Lord has brought this great disaster on us. But if it does not, then we will know that it was not his hand that struck us, but that it happened to us by chance. So they did this. They took 2 such cows and hitched them to the cart and penned up their calves. They placed the ark of the Lord on the cart, and along with the chest containing the gold rats and the models of the tumors. Then the cows went straight up toward Beth Shemesh, keeping on the road and lowing all the way. They did not turn to the right or to the left. The rulers of the Philistines followed them as